Some people just look strong. You know what I mean. Broad shoulders, calm focus, the kind of person who, if the building started to shake, you'd quietly sidle over just in case. Srdjan Injac looks like that. He looks like a superhero, like someone who could punch through a brick wall and then politely offer to help clean up the mess. And yes, he's jacked. Let's just name it. It would be very easy to assume this is someone who lives and breathes strength training for all the reasons you see all over Instagram, for the abs and the numbers and the status and the attention. I'll bet right now he hates this introduction. That's why he's muted. But I've been training with Srdjan for a few months now, and what I've learned in that time has nothing to do with the egoic reasons for strength. For the first time in my life, I understand not just the appearance of strength, but its purpose. I understand how strength builds capacity, not just for lifting heavy things, but for moving through the world with energy, with resilience, with trust in your own body. And I understand that strength isn't just physical, it's relational, it's emotional, it's generational. Srdjan grew up in Serbia. He moved across the world. He built a business around transformation, quiet, powerful, foundational change. And I think somewhere in his story is a different kind of legacy. One that isn't sculpted in marble or shouted from rooftops, but lived quietly, one rep, one decision, one person at a time. I'm Pete Wright, and this is Headstone. I'm so glad you are doing this.
Yeah, me too.
You say you don't like to talk about yourself, and yet you and I are now doing a podcast together.
I know, it's crazy.
A separate podcast. And I feel like I've had the opportunity to learn an awful lot about you just through our training sessions together. Mm-hmm. And I've been reflecting, just, the purpose of this show is all about the little events that make us who we are and then lead to sort of the message, that the footprint that we leave behind. And I think that starts at home for you in Serbia as a kid. And I would like it if you would take me back there to what your experience was like as a young guy, living there, existing there in a contentious time. Can we do that?
Yeah, definitely. That's how I got where I am today. Growing up, I was always the smallest kid in the crowd, but in school, I had a rough time. I always used to be picked on and all that stuff because I was really small, very skinny. I was the smallest one in the family, even.
That I find that a riot. What is picking on you look like in Serbia? I'm trying to find out if there are cultural differences between how kids are bullied here when I was growing up.
They're cruel
what you were doing
over there.
Yeah.
I mean, smacked around, beaten up, all that stuff, picked on, called names, anything you can imagine. It was rough. And, you just have to learn how to stand up for yourself. There's no other way. I mean, you try to defend yourself, and I would try. And of course, I'm the little one. I was small and weak, and I couldn't really do much. I had girls defend me. At one point when I was little, that's how small I was. Little, always growing up, skinny one. So it was rough. Growing up like that your whole life. Till I was 17, until I came here. But what's
family over there? You siblings?
Yeah, I have a younger brother. He never had that problem.
Is he bigger?
He was the one beating
up
other ones. It was the other way around with him.
Yeah. Oh no.
Oh yeah, he was the troublemaker. That guy. Yeah, nobody would pick on him. But yeah, I only one sibling brother, but I have a big, huge family. I'm kind of coming back from a huge family. I mean, my mom had 5 brothers, 1 sister. My dad had 4 sisters, a lot of cousins, big, huge family. And that was great. We were a very family-oriented culture, and we were all very close. We all live almost in the same cities and stuff like that. So that was amazing. That was fun. I mean, they always had my back, but
Yeah.
still always the smallest one. Even in the family, cousins, when we mess around, I will always get picked on too, even then. So I remember that.
The context of you growing up in Sarajevo is it's sort of under the shadow of the experience of war there.
Yes.
And I come to this conversation from a place of great privilege. War has never broken out in my city. People have been called some pretty bad names, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And I cannot. I've been trying since you and I met. I've been trying in the back of my head a little bit, trying to put myself in your shoes as a kiddo, living there and making your way through what cannot be construed as a normal life.
Yeah, it was. It's even hard to explain. I mean, you can't even put into words unless you're there and you've been there and you went through. It was hell. 4 years of hell during there, and just trying to survive every day. You never know if you're going to wake up the next day or not. So I was there in the middle of everything. My family didn't get to escape. We didn't get out, so we stayed there, and we just had to find a way to get through it, to survive. And it was hard, but you try, like, after a year, to live a normal life. Like, you accept all that stuff as the part of your life, because it is. At that moment, it was part of our life. So you try, go to school and do all this stuff like you would do normally. And then, you go to school, but you don't know if you're coming back or not. Your parents leave and looking for food and water, because there was no water, there was no electricity, there was none of that. And you never know if they're coming back or not, or what's going to happen. And there was one major massacre that happened right in front of my streets, in front of my house, and you can easily, even listeners can find that on YouTube. And I watched it a couple of times, and does take me back. But yeah, it was hard, but luckily, me and my family survived. I mean, I lost some cousins and uncles during the war. I mean, every family, I think, did. Uh, and it's just part of the war, I think. But we were able to get out after the peace was signed and stuff like that. And that's how we ended up coming here. I had a cousin here that lived here, so it was easier to fill up the paperwork and all that stuff. And we went through the whole process and ended up coming here. Yeah, it was about 16, 17.
So you were what, 12 to 16 when this is going on?
Yeah, I was 10 years old. And for 4 years, 5, 6, kind of, it was going on. So, yeah. So I was, after the war, I was there for 2 more years, and then we came here.
Okay.
So.
The thing that I struggle with is trying to rationalize how your sort of ideological worldview shifts when you're in that experience, when your routine includes wondering if tomorrow I'm going to have parents, right?
Yeah.
And how that changed what was important to you after peace was signed.
Yeah, it definitely changes. It changes. You see life differently, your whole perspective on life and the way you see the world, and definitely brings you closer to family. You realize that, you can't take anything for granted. And especially your family, it means everything. All the stuff that we have, all the material things and all that stuff, none of it matters. Everything was gone the first day when the war started. Disappear, gone. And you only have each other. You have each other to support and help each other survive. So it made me appreciate life and uh, all the small things. I take nothing for granted. I mean, it's just small things that you don't even think about. Like you have no idea how. Should be thankful for that. Uh, but it definitely changes you, and you get closer to the people that you love, and you find out that that's all that matters. The people around you, nothing else. All the money and all that stuff, everything come and goes. But the family it stays forever. Those are the ones things that you cannot replace. All my cousins and uncles and that died, and they're gone. Everything else that we have now, right now. So yeah, I got a lot closer to my family.
The nature of the war was one of ideology, right? I mean, it was a religious civil war.
Yeah.
And I wonder how that feeling of love for family extends for you across ideologies, especially now that so many years have passed, right? The people who were in your neighborhood who may not have shared your ideology, your religion,
Yeah.
and yet, you lived together. You were effectively civic family.
Yeah, over there, I mean, we all live together. All three religions, we live together. We all have mixed families.
Mm-hmm.
The Catholics, Christians, Muslims. We all lived together. For years, we all celebrated each other's holidays and everything. Nobody cared who was what. So and then when the war started, it destroyed a lot of families. And even now, like, thanks to a lot of those people that I'm still here. Like, they saved me so many times, my neighbors and all that stuff. And even though we were a different religion, they were there for me. They didn't care. They knew me. They grew up with me. We grew up together. So they knew who I was. So religion didn't matter. And those people that actually went through the war, they don't care about that. Even to this very day, we look back and we don't hate each other because we went through that war. And a lot of people, you can probably say they have a reason. They can have a reason to hate, another religion and all that stuff, but they don't. And we just all try to forget that even happened. And I still have a lot of family back home, and I try to go visit them and see them as much as I can. And my family is mixed, Catholics and Muslims, and I love them to death. I don't really care. We all have, might have different opinions, just like here. We all have different opinions, but it doesn't matter. Like, we look at people as who they are as a person, so it really didn't change at all, and it will never change. And for a lot of people, same thing. So I know, and I talk with a lot of my friends and family back home, and they think the same. They don't care. So yeah, it's just
it's a
it's hard topic to complicated sometimes.
It is complicated, but I mean, it's so. I really appreciate you sharing it, because I think it's so reflective of lessons that we, humanity, are still trying to learn.
Yeah.
Right. And how does, just briefly as an aside, how do you reflect on unrest that is still religious, based on sort of religious ideology that is going on today, since you lived through it on the street yourself?
It's usually people that are really religious and all this against everything, and just keep bringing it up and try to separate the world. The people that actually never went through this stuff like this, people that did go through, they saw what happened, what can happen. And it's awful. Like, you can't even explain, put in words what people are capable of doing to each other and stuff like that. So all these people, like, I see it now and they talk about it. I'm like, you have no idea. You have no idea how good you have here.
Yeah.
And you're complaining about this and you're talking about that, and you haven't even gone through any of that. You probably wouldn't even survive 2 days if you knew what we went through. And I just shake my head. I'm just like, wow, it's crazy that And I understand they never went through that stuff. They never experienced it. People that did, they definitely think differently.
Yeah.
So, try to talk to them and all that stuff. And, but it's going to be all kinds of people on all three sides everywhere. Perfect world is never going to exist.
How easy it is to have strong opinions and ideologies when you've never watched your street blown up, right?
Yeah.
When you've never watched your neighborhood grocery store just explode.
Yeah, because when those grenades fall, like, they don't pick who are going to kill everyone. And they don't discriminate. They don't care if you're Muslim, Serb, Croatian, like whatever. Nothing.
So much of fighting, of war, is about shows of strength.
Yes.
Do you have any connection to, watching this kind of show of strength at home to your desire to begin exploring strength in your own body?
Oh, it definitely makes you stronger. When you go through something like that, you build a different kind of mentality you have, so you know what you have and you're thankful for everything that you have. In my mind, everything's possible. I have my family there and they're safe and good, and you have everything you need. You just got to put some work in it. And it definitely made me stronger coming out of that. It's the own mindset and how you go on and attack things.
Why did you start building?
Well, it was something that I found out when I moved here. It was my first doctor
17,
appointment.
18, something like
17,
that?
Yeah, I was 17. I turned 17 2 months after I came here.
Okay.
So that was my first doctor appointment, and they told me, they were like, you have a chest depression. And I'm like, no. I'm like, what is that? So they call it, the medical term is pectus excavatum, which means your sternum, the middle of your chest, and the bottom of the sternum, there's like a triangle called xiphoid process bone that dips into your chest. So it goes a little bit inside and creates like a little dip in your chest. And I always thought I had that because I was small, I was skinny, and that's just how I look. And it was kind of embarrassing for me because that's also one of the reasons why I used to get picked on all the time, so I would always make sure I keep my shirt on, I keep it covered, nobody knows, nobody sees it, and stuff like that. So it bothered me a lot.
In your head, it was super noticeable.
Oh, in my head, it was it couldn't be any worse.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
But they said it was, and they gave me some options, and they say it's very mild. It's just cosmetic. It's just that's how it looks. If I want to, I can have a surgery. They would go in, and I would end up with these 3 huge scars on my body. And the whole surgery just sounded scary. I'm like, oh my God.
No, it sounds horrible.
But yeah, but they were like, oh, they're all the time. It's not scary and all that stuff. I'm like, that sounds awful. I'm like, I don't know. What's the second option? They're like, well, you can start working out, develop your body, and make it look less noticeable. And, so that sounded a lot better. And in my head, like, as a teenager, I didn't know. I thought maybe, just if I start working out, that thing's just going to pop up and I'm going to look normal. Myself, like, that's not how it works. You'll find out later. But that's
wait. How does it work? It doesn't. There's no muscle attached to the xiphoid process, right? There's nothing like
your upper abs. They're attached, so sometimes it's a little bit harder to see it. So you would have to be really lean and muscular in order to see them, which later I did achieve that goal. But and I was dedicated. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do whatever it takes. I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to make it happen. And I was just tired of it. I was just tired of being picked on. I was tired of hiding all the time, embarrassed to tell people, say anything. And even if I try to take off my shirt when you go to the beach and the pool and stuff like that, people would point, look at it, kind of make faces, laugh, and things like that. So it's, I became very self-conscious about it. So I didn't like it
Yeah.
one bit. And then I started going to the gym, trying to figure out how to work out, what to do. I didn't really know anything. I didn't know anything about the nutrition at that point, because when you're young, you have a really fast metabolism.
Yeah, you
Mine
do
was
whatever
really
you
fast. I
want.
was skinny. So for me, it was always problem gaining weight. So I didn't have to worry about that part, luckily. So I was eating anything possible. And my body was taking it. We started developing. And then I started gaining muscle. That's the only way that I was able to gain any weight.
I think it's so interesting knowing you now that this started because you started this process of building muscle, essentially. Correct me if this is the wrong kind of way to think about it, but essentially running from your past, right? Running from the memory of being bullied,
Yes.
Running from the idea of having to have them cut into you to fix this thing that arguably wasn't broken. Do you remember a point, and maybe it's never changed, but do you remember a point when you stopped thinking about it, that you were no longer running from something in your past and instead maybe were running towards something in the future?
Well, I didn't really, at one point, I just accepted it for how it is. And I accepted I accepted at the point when I was able to accomplish all the things that I wanted to accomplish, that I thought when I started it would never happen.
What are those? Give me those things. What did you want to accomplish?
All these fitness models and how they look. And I was like, if I could just be that, like I would never be able to get to that point or be like that, or do any kind of, photo shoots, fitness photo shoots and things like that. So in my mind, that was like the goal that I was never going to achieve. But if I can get close to it, if I can get, so working really hard, like at one point I achieved all those goals. I looked like that. I did the photo shoots and stuff like that, and no one can see it, and I can still see it. It's very there looking at it.
Right?
Like, the first thing I look at it, and it's really not noticeable at all.
Nobody
you can't
can
really see it at all. But that's at that point when I'm like, I accomplished all this stuff, and now I'm accepting it, my body the way it is and how it is, and I'm more proud of it, because it led me to this point and made me who I am. And, now I'm doing this for a living, and just everything happened because of that. So at the same time, you're kind of thankful for it, that it shaped you into the person that you are now. So I accepted it. And now I know, now, of course, I don't care. Take my shirt off. They can look all they want. Now they think just because my chest is too big or something like that, it looks like that. Things like that is like, it's very big, or like, and all that stuff. So because you can't see it now and they can't notice it. Things like that. And I'm like, now you can say all you want. You look at it. And I know I still look better than 80% of the people there. So it doesn't bother me anymore. And, as you grow older, it's different. It's just when you're a kid, teenager and all that stuff, those are things that bothers you, because you go out with friends and, the girls come around and things like that. So, of course, it bothers you way more than, when you're in your 30s, late 30s, early 30s. Then it's like, I have so many other problems. This is not a problem like at all.
Yeah, check this one off the list. We're moving on. Yeah. Well, and I'm wondering what there's a capacity for change, right? Changing the way you think about yourself. And do you have a sense for when you stopped judging yourself for this thing that you were so focused on? Like, what did it take? Because the journey of building muscle to where you are right now is long, and at some point you let go.
Yeah, it was right there when I was able to accomplish it, after that photo shoot.
Photo shoot?
Yeah.
When was the photo shoot?
Like, I did it. Photo shoot was probably about maybe 6 years ago, 7.
Okay.
7 years ago that I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I totally accepted it. And I'm like, the thing is, like, even to this very day, I'm really hard on myself. I can see it now, of course, I don't care. It doesn't look bad at all. But I'm always I think it stayed with me, trying to get to that point to achieve. I stayed really hard on myself, and I always demand more from myself. I always motivated to push harder to get better, because I feel like there's always room to improve. I can always get better. Like, I don't like settling down. So I'll always find little things that I will work towards to. And once I accomplish that thing, then I'll find another one, and I'll just keep going. That kind of motivates me, keeps pushing me to get better. And then, because that's how it was at the beginning, I was going to do anything. It was very long, like you said, a long and painful road, because I didn't know what I was doing. I had nobody to help me. I thought I was the only one with that thing. I never knew any person that had that. So, which made it even worse. It was like, I felt different. I just didn't feel I belonged with anyone, and just out of place. It's just, so I went through a lot of injuries and surgeries and all that stuff, just was pushing my body to the limit and trying everything possible I can. So that's when I decided to, now go to school and learn more about the way the body works and how it works and how I can do this. And through that process, that of course helped me a lot, learn a lot of things. And then of course I see all the mistakes that I made, things like that. So
yeah, there's a nice little red wagon of mistakes that you drag behind.
I learned a lot of things the hard way. I feel like to this very day, I learn things the hard way. I still like learning things the hard way. I don't know why. I just like pushing my body to the very close limits too.
It's so interesting to hear the way you talk about yourself. And we all do it, right? We are our own worst voices in our heads. Like, I would never talk to anyone else the way I talk to myself in my head, definitely. Ever in a million years. And it's so interesting to hear that in you, and yet to witness how important it seems to be to you to help others go through this process of transformation, maybe in a way that you never had, right? Like, you didn't have someone who can mentor you physically, like, frankly, like I do in you, right? Mm-hmm. When did you realize that this was a thing you felt like you could do for other people?
Well, after I accomplished what I needed to accomplish, what I wanted it, when I started training others, like, I realized everyone's been dealing with different insecurities, and people have different issues, their problems. And I'm like, I know what it feels like when everyone comes to me with something. I'm like, I know exactly what it feels like. So I'm like, I want to be there to help them, because I know nobody was there for me. I didn't really have anyone to guide me through and teach me, and so I don't get hurt. I wouldn't have to go through all these surgeries and stuff like that if I knew. But I wanted to help others and be there for them and guide them and teach them and show them that it's possible to reach their goals, no matter what the goal is. If I was able to accomplish this, then you're definitely capable of doing the same thing, and I'll help you through the whole process. So, and then once I start helping people and seeing them accomplishing those goals, and they will come to me and they're like crying and happy and tell me all this stuff, the feeling is just, I mean, there's no other feeling like that. It's amazing. So I'm like, this is what I want to do. This is the best feeling ever. Like, it was feeling better even than when I accomplished all my goals. I accomplished it. I'm like, okay, now what? But with this, it's totally different. Like, I look forward to like helping others and stuff like that. And then it just became my passion. Like, I know I can do this, and I know what it takes. I know it's possible. And when I was going through that myself, there's a lot of times where I doubt myself, and I didn't think that I would ever get there, that maybe it's not possible. And I know that's how they think. So I want to be there. I want to be there as an example to show them that, yeah, it is possible. You can do all that stuff.
It's really interesting to hear that, because I as I reflect on, watching you work, the body stuff seems like a MacGuffin, right? Like, it's a trick. Like, you're sure the side effect of this work is that your body changes, your heart changes, your muscles grow, they shape, whatever, you change your behaviors. But really, at its very foundation, you're shaping how people think about themselves, right? And once you trigger that, once you're able to change the way people look at themselves, think about themselves, imagine what they're capable of, you can change anything. You can change the world.
Yeah, that was the hardest part for me. Like, and I'm finding it challenging, and when I'm training others, just to change their mindset, the mentality about everything, that just the way they think about it, they go about it. I'm like, the body will change. Like, you give your reason, your body's reason to change, it will change, but it's just changing their mindset. So when I started training others, I found myself, I wasn't just a trainer. I was their psychiatrist, I was their nutritionist, I was their very much therapist, whatever they needed me to be. Because in order to achieve those goals, you have to have a right mindset. So we worked on that first before you can actually achieve whatever physical changes you want to make. Because those things, I feel like they're pretty easy. You just need the right guidance, stuff that will help. Or it's just the mindset. People will give up on themselves and think they can't do it. And if you think something like that, then really that you're not going to do it. If you don't think it's possible, then it's not. You're not going to make it. So just changing their mindset and their mentality, it's a big thing, and that's what I usually like to talk about to my clients and stuff like that. Once I convince them that everything's so much easier.
What do people get wrong about strength and physique? And I'm asking because I think I Instagram and all the things, all the ads for me are, I'm the trainer that got Chris Hemsworth into shape for Thor, right? Like these like celebrity trainers, and their pitch is, you're going to get shredded and you're going to do it so fast. It'll be fast. Like you can't even believe it. And as a methodology, that feels like it feels really wrong. It feels really wrong to me, but I don't know why. Do people come to you with those kinds of requests? Like, I need you to get me shredded as fast as possible.
Oh, I do. They come to me and they think it's going to, like, I sell some magic pills. It's just going to happen just because they hired me. All of a sudden, 3 months, they're just going to look like Greek gods. Like, yeah, it doesn't happen. I had one time person sitting to me and he took the photo out of his pocket. He's like, I want to look like this. And I'm looking at the photo.
It's not like getting a haircut, man.
No. He's like 45, 47, like in his late 40s. And he's giving me a photo of like a 25-year-old who was a fitness model. And he's showing, I'm like, yeah, I want to look like that too. And I'm like, he's looking at me. He's like, what? I'm like, why are you comparing yourself to somebody? I'm like, first of all, that not going to happen. Unless we're going to get on some steroids and things like that. And I'm like, we're going to get there. But I'm like, you're showing me the picture of the guy who does this for his living. Okay, he eats, sleeps, breathes, talk, fitness, everything. That's his life. That's what he does. He's a fitness model. You have family. He had 3 young girls, and you have wife, and you have 2 jobs. And I'm like, that's not your life. I'm like, okay, let's start making some realistic goals. Came to me because you want to look better, you want to feel better. I'm like, now we're talking about your health. So I'm like, people are sometimes focused on the wrong thing, wrong stuff. So you have to have a little conversation with them and see why are they trying to get to that point, and what's driving them, why are they here? So, but then there's a lot of people that are like, well, I want to do this and get and ripped and all, but I don't want too much muscle. I'm just going to get too muscular, too big. I don't want to look like that. I'm like, trust me, it's not going to happen. It's not that easy.
Yeah.
So, but then you have to explain them the importance of the muscle and everything, and, how the body works, and talk to them about health in the future. I'm like, you have kids, you would like to see your grandchildren, you want to do, when you have the grandchildren, you want to be able to play with them, right? Too. And they're like, yeah. So I'm like, okay, let's have that a goal be, because that's what you really want. So it's just talking to people. Sometimes they have these ideas of what they want to look like and how they want to look like, and think what fitness is all about and stuff like that. They think it's all sometimes about abs and big muscles and all that stuff. It's about health. All the abs and muscles on it, it's kind of like a little reward, a trophy that you get for actually being healthy and living a healthy lifestyle and doing that. So it's not all about the looks. It's important that you have a muscle mass, and we talked about that.
We haven't really talked about that yet, about the importance of muscle mass, and that has been really sort of foundational to your training philosophy for folks in the gym. Is like, if we're going to change the way you think about yourself, and if the muscles are going to be a trophy for living a healthy life, there's also a functional purpose to having a strong musculoskeletal system. And I wonder where that changed for you, because when you started working out, it was running from this change in your body that you wanted to hide. But at some point, it became about living healthier.
When I started working out, of course, you started seeing the change and you start feeling the changes. I felt so much better. I felt better than I've ever before. And then I realized I was actually a lot healthier. And it started changing my mind a little bit about the whole fitness. And the muscles, it felt great. I felt stronger, and I saw the benefits of muscles, which we'll talk about more. But it's once your body starts changing, once you feel, after being consistent for a month, 2 or 3 months, you can see what the fitness is all about and what muscles bring you, and the strength that you all of a sudden you had, and things like that. So it definitely starts changing you slowly. You start thinking about it differently when you start actually feeling those benefits and not just seeing it.
What do you find your clients teach you about humanity, health, strength? What do you learn from the people you work with?
Just the struggles that they have, and then I really feel bad for some of the people that are really trying hard, and they're struggling. They don't really have a right support from their loved ones or from the people that are close to them and things like that. And I know what that must probably feel like, even though I always had a support from my family and my parents, and all that, they were very supportive. So even my mom, I remember as a kid, like, would try to make healthy meals and all that stuff. So she was very supportive. Finding out that for some people it's really hard, it's really difficult. So I try to be that support for them. And then a lot of these people, like sometimes I talk to, is just, they don't understand also the importance of the fitness. And I feel so bad, so sorry. Like, this is why I want to do this, decided to do podcast, to let people know the importance of the fitness. And importance, we'll later talk about muscle mass and being healthy and what it can bring to their life and the changes that they can make, and how amazing, how important it is in a big part of their life. And later they're going to see, once they get older and things like that, we're going to talk about longevity and just the whole quality of life. And then it's just, sometimes I almost got frustrated, like, people don't care about it. They just live very unhealthy lifestyles. And I'm like, how do you not see, how do you not think about that? Like, where do you want to be 5-10 years from now? All these health problems that you might have, issues, and then maybe burden that you're going to put on your kids or your wife or stuff like that. It's just like, sometimes that frustrates me a little bit, and I just kind of want to get it out somehow, just find a way to let all these people know. It's just like, it's not, they see the gym and they see me and they think it's all about the muscle. I'm like, no, it's not. Like, sometimes when I have consultation, I'll have a shirt, long sleeve. Like, I don't want them to focus on the muscles and things like that. I want them to focus on what I have to say and talk to them about it, and not think that fitness is just the muscle and just looking good and all that stuff and abs and things like that. So it's just about the quality of life, and looking at people at the quality of life that they live now. It's just sad. And then seeing their kids, and kids usually follow the parents. The parents are supposed to set the example for their kids. And when you don't set it, and then that kind of example, then the kids will just follow. And then I see them living that poor quality of life. It's just, and I feel bad for the kids, but they don't know any better, right? So it's the parents' responsibility. And then just it really frustrates me. Like, I feel like I want to help everyone. I want to talk every single person that I see, like, but I know I can't. It's just that kind of what I think about a lot of times when I'm out there, when I'm looking around, and I'm just like, if I can just talk to them, try to see if I can change their mind and bring them in and help them. Oh yeah, everywhere.
Haunt the cookie aisle and just hope you can mention something that'll change their mind.
I think about, like, my brain is just all about fitness and health and stuff like that. And I'll be standing in line, and somebody was like, well, you're just doing like fitness assessments right now, and everybody that's standing, I'm like, well, kind of. I'm like, I could help this guy with this, with that. I would love to help this with the person with this and that. And I'm like, looking at all the ways that I could help people. Like, I could, because I want them to have a better quality of life and live great. And it's just like, they have no idea what it feels like to be like this. It's just like, I wish I could.
Oh yeah. I wonder, it gets me thinking, and maybe this is a sort of European versus kind of Western perspective, but I know from my experience that I live very much in the now. Right? And the decisions that I have made most of my life have been really like dopamine based, like what's going to satisfy me the most right now. I'll just kind of be the hedonist and I'll just do it. And it's taken me a lot of years to recognize that living in the now just doesn't allow me to live in my 70s. My 80s. Yeah. Like, living in the now means I'm not going to be able to get myself off the toilet by myself when I'm 80 years old, if I'm around at 80 years old, right?
Yeah.
And I wonder, I mean, is that a cultural thing? Is that a thing that we've just really mastered? Is hedonistic celebration of the now in here, or is that a global thing?
No, this just me. There's a lot of people back home, I know, in my country, they're living in the moment.
Okay, God, I'm so glad you said that.
Oh my God. Oh no, there's a lot.
We're all in it together.
Oh yeah. It's just me. I feel like it's completely different. I think completely differently. And I'll have people tell me, it was like when we eat something and I ordered whatever, and they were like, why don't you just enjoy life? Just get something else. And I was just like, no, I'm eating this because I'm like, I eat for the results, or like how I'm gonna look a month from now, 2 months. Like, that's how my brain works. It's like, I don't eat because I want to enjoy this meal right now, this moment, and all that stuff, and just live in that moment. I'm like, I'm fine, I'm good. I don't need all these drinks and stuff like that. People will just relax and just enjoy the moment. I'm like, no, that's gonna kill this and that. I'm like, I work hard. No, I'm not gonna feel good tomorrow. Right. And they're like, that's how I think.
Okay, so straight shooting here. Real talk. What do you do then, if not eat and drink, to actually, when you need to live in the moment, to actually just let your hair down, so to speak?
Once in a while I'll do it now. I'll do it now.
Okay.
That was before. No, I'll do it now. Sometimes I do it like at this point, like I know where I'm at and I'm happy where I'm at, and I know my body, and I feel like if I let go too much or enjoy too much, live in the moment, then I'm easy. I can just flip the switch really easy and be like, nope, I'm going to get really strict. Next month, I'm going to get rid of all this and I'm going to get back in where I was. So for me, that's easy. So that's why now and then, like, enjoy the moment, right? And eat all the food and have drinks and stuff like that. I don't really have much because my body's really not used to it anymore. So if I do it too much, it kind of makes me feel sick. to my stomach, stuff like that. And it's just not, but from now and then, I'll eat stuff that I probably wouldn't recommend to my client. But, well, I'll be honest. I'm like, hey, I'm just like, I tell them, I'm just like you. I have cravings too. I'm like, tell you the truth, last night I had a huge bowl of ice cream right before bed. I was hungry. I had other options, but nope, I wanted that. And I ate it. But I know where I am and all that stuff. Oof. And they're like looking at me. But I'm like, but tomorrow, like starting today, I can easily flip the switch and not have ice cream for the next 5 months if I don't want to. It's like, that's the only difference I tell them, like between me and you. It's not like, I don't have the cravings that I don't like that stuff. I do. It tastes great. But it comes to the discipline and then also consistency. Those are the things that separates me from the rest.
I mean, now you make it look easy, right? And I think that's probably because you wear the results on under your skin. You know what I mean? What I think is really special about what you do, and especially for this show, I mean, this show is called Headstone, for crying out loud. Like, that's the gimmick. Like, what do you want to leave behind? And what you do, if you do your job right, the values that you instill in your clients will literally outlive you, right? If you do your job right, your product will be the people that you've come in contact with living longer. And maybe I'm overthinking that, like over empathizing that, but that feels like a mighty weight, right? A mighty responsibility. Do you ever think about what is going to outlive you? Do you ever think about the footprints that you're leaving in other people's lives right now?
Yeah, and I do want to leave those footprints, and I want them to be like when they're 80 to remember me, and when they're talking to their grandchildren and all that stuff, and mention me and say how I changed their life, and how because of that guy, I'm here right now talking to you and all that stuff. I want to be that person. I want to make that kind of impact on people's life. I want to motivate them and get them to the point where they get to see their grandchildren and everything, live the great life. And I want to be the reason, be like, thanks to you, I'm here, and thank you and all that stuff. So that's a great feeling. I'm like, just thinking about it, that's what I always try to go for. I'm like, I just want people to remember me for that, for somebody who were able to help them get through tough times and achieve their goals and get to where they are at that point of life. And so, yeah, definitely. I want to definitely leave those footsteps and change people's lives for better.
Okay, so boil it down. You're long after you're gone, people are walking through a cemetery and they stumble on your headstone. Srdjan Injac lived forever because he was a mighty oak. What does it say on that headstone?
Probably a guy that changed a lot of lives and make an impact on a lot of people who never gave up on himself or others.
That's pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Pretty good. We haven't known each other very long, but I'll tell you what, I can feel it. I love coming into work with you, buddy. I really, really do. It is already changed my life. Thank you.
Yeah, I love torturing you.
You don't have to end on such a dick move, really.
Right. I love working with you. It's great. I love it.
It's a real pleasure. I will say, I'll just add a little bit of a plug to everybody. Thank you for joining. While I'm at it, if you are interested in Srdjan's take on building strength, on the importance of your musculoskeletal system, we're doing a podcast together. I already teased it. It's brand new. It's called Build for Health, and there will be a link for you in the show notes that I hope you will click and subscribe and follow wherever you listen to your podcasts. We're having a good time talking about building for health. Thank you. Thanks for hanging out, Srdjan. I'll see you in the gym.
Yes. See you there.
Most of us don't become who we are by accident. We become who we are in response to something, a moment, a perceived wound, a war, Or in Srdjan's case, maybe all three. He didn't chase strength because he wanted to look good. He chased it because he wanted to feel whole. He wanted to hide a part of himself he thought the world was trying to point at and laugh. And then somewhere along the way, without even realizing it, he stopped hiding. And he started building. And what he built, first in his body, then in his life, became something much bigger than a personal victory. It became a place, a calling, a gym filled with people who walk in unsure and walk out changed because they met someone who knows what it means to feel like you don't belong, who chose to meet that feeling not with bitterness, but with strength freely offered. Srdjan said he hopes people remember him as someone who changed a lot of lives, someone who never gave up on himself or on anyone else. I think that's an inscription that is already well earned. I'm Pete Wright, and thanks for joining me around the headstone.